on Mountain News this morning. This weekend will be the grim reminder of the 2022 floods that devastated eastern Kentucky. And a cold case still leaves many questions for one family 30 years after the murders took place.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Worth saying twice, it's Friday. Good morning. Jim Freeman in at 6:30 along with Tim Drawbridge, and we're talking about a pretty nice weather forecast, right, Tim? Good morning.
Yeah, well, good morning, Jim. Yeah, Friday, right? A 50-50 weekend on tap. We've just got to get through some fog and maybe the risk of a shower for some of us this afternoon. 64 outside our doors. The visibility is starting to slowly improve. Maybe not so across portions of Wayne County right now. Visibility from Williamsburg a few hundred feet. And as you make your way further to the north where we do find drier air, visibility not that much of a problem. Temperature-wise, 64 to near 70 for a lot of us, a touch cooler at Clintwood, and 63. Breaks in the clouds as we rock and roll through here on the 6 o'clock hour. Thickest of cloud cover is to our south and southwest with the boundary that pushed through late yesterday. And remember who ended up being affected, right? Those of you back from Harlan over toward Monticello and Waynesburg, scattered showers, a few thunder showers for the most part. I think that's the area again that we end up bringing the risk of a pop-up shower or thunder shower this afternoon. Not all of us will see that. Otherwise, it's partly sunny and a high of 85. The 50-50 weekend forecast, that's coming up in a few moments. Jim?
Sounded good, Tim. Thank you. This weekend marks 2 years since deadly floods devastated eastern Kentucky. But for the survivors, not a day goes by that they can forget. 45 people lost their lives, one of them being Vanessa Baker. Her body has never been found. Kelsey Soto shares one man's story of the daily reminder of a broken heart.
Just like an old man.
You got it.
63-year-old.
These days are all hurry up and wait for Farmer Baker.
I still feel young anyway. That's my house, I reckon, whenever they get it done.
As a young boy growing up on the River Caney, he dreamed of building a future with the girl next door, Vanessa.
Oh, that's good times. Sure was. Good times.
And one day, she finally gave in.
People always told me, said, Ed, that won't last. I said, you all won't last. You won't last 6 months. It's almost 40 years. I couldn't have found a better woman, I don't believe. Joe couldn't have.
The pair raised 2 boys. They welcomed grandchildren and always weathered the storms of life together until one day in the summer of 2022.
It washed everything.
Floods raged through the River Caney, leaving nothing but the memories created there.
And the last words that come out of her mouth said, I can't swim. I looked around, she was gone. And I looked up, God said, you took her, take me. He said, he just did, he had a purpose for me.
Farmer hasn't stopped looking for his childhood sweetheart.
I'm still searching. I did. Every bit of the money I got from my house, and like, I put into an excavator, and I go down there and dig for her.
So when people say life is so hard there, why do they stay? We stay because of each other, because we love one another and we need each other to have a good life and to be happy.
Yeah, this is my room, I reckon.
Yeah. Now almost ready to move into a new home.
I don't know where I can get a king-size bed in there or not.
He didn't know he'd one day need.
I feel sorry for people that start over. I do. Because I know how it feels.
There may never be another Vanessa.
You must fill her space, but you can't take her place.
I feel like she is kind of still here with us because, you know, you feel that love between Farmer and his wife. It's still there, it still exists.
Dream of her every night, Jesus smiling. I asked her where she's at, but she'd never tell me.
But one day, they will find each other once again.
I'm gonna be satisfied up here. And I know she's with me all the time too. I know she'll be with me.
In Perry County, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
The Housing Development Alliance is working to build Farmer's Home. It should be ready at the end of August or in early September. Now, today, Governor Beshear will travel to Floyd, Knott, Perry, and Breathitt counties for events related to the flood anniversary. 15 counties in Kentucky are included in a federal disaster declaration following the Memorial Day weekend storms. They include Whitley, Knox, and Clay counties, among others in western Kentucky. It's the second time in 2 months Whitley County has been approved for assistance, but people dealing with damage will have to apply again.
A lot of residents had not fully repaired and recouped from the April storm, and then we had a storm in May. So we had the same path that the storm took, and then it was more extensive and a longer path that caused a whole lot more damage to residents.
You can register for assistance at disasterassistance.gov. 30 years after a southern Kentucky woman and her brother were found dead in a fence row, their family is still working to figure out just what happened. In July 1994, 21-year-old Linda Gibson and 4-year-old Cody Lee Garrett were murdered. Police say it happened after someone picked them up near the gas station Food Mart. That's now a Valero on Bourne Avenue. In the last 3 decades, there have been no arrests.
I know people out here knows, they still yet know, you know, they still won't talk about it because I believe that the killers are still alive.
The Pulaski County Sheriff's Office website says people who have information that could lead to an arrest could be eligible for a cash reward. In Powell County, a man is facing charges after he was reportedly involved in an altercation and fired several shots in the air. Deputies with the Sheriff's Office were dispatched to a home on Smallwood Road Wednesday about receiving a complaint about shots being fired. After deputies arrived on the scene, they discovered 46-year-old Matthew Campbell left the home. Deputies removed several rifles from the home. Campbell was later arrested after police came back to the home. A Laurel County man is behind bars after deputies say he tried to resist arrest. Yesterday, deputies with the Sheriff's Office were dispatched to Fairston Road after officials with the 911 center received a suspicious persons complaint. When police arrived, they found Ronald Reams. During an investigation, Reams reportedly tried to resist arrest and even threw an object later identified as suspected meth. Reams was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. More than a dozen folks came to the Heinemann Settlement School to register to become bone marrow donors during the annual Appalachian Writers Workshop. WYMT's Amelia Lee was there to talk to those registering and a woman whose life was saved.
Tia Jensen's life was forever changed in 2018 when she was diagnosed with acute leukemia. Blood was donated to keep her life going.
All in, through the transplant and recovery, it took 88 people to keep me alive.
Her 79th donor was a match from the National Marrow Donor Program, who went to a swab event.
He was happy and excited to save someone and to be the hero for me. And so I saved his life, according to him, by my need. And he saved me literally.
A Kentucky native living in Washington, Jensen comes back to her roots almost every year to attend the Appalachian Writers Workshop.
I write nonfiction, and when I hear the sounds of the people I grew up with, I go back into the community. I can get more in touch with that part of me, and it's going home for me.
The workshop this year was different when Justin Brown set up a table asking people to register to become marrow donors.
This type of crowd understands that their words are more powerful than themselves, and so doing something that's bigger than themselves. So what I wanted to do was host something that also kind of expounded upon that.
Connecting writing to Jensen's story and being generous enough to help those who need it.
You don't have to have been touched by it to help someone that is, suffering.
Jensen has been able to live a life that could have easily been cut short because of the generosity of her marrow donor.
Today is day 1,973. Those are 1,973 sunrises and sunsets that I would have never been gifted.
In Knott County, Amelia Lee, WYMT Mountain News.
Thank you, Amelia. We continue to keep an eye on this year's presidential race. And one of the big choices Vice President Kamala Harris will have to make is if and when she accepts the Democratic nomination, will be choosing a running mate. Governor Andy Beshear faced reporters during his Team Kentucky briefing yesterday. Governor Beshear was asked why he is the person to make the case to Americans about why Vice President Kamala Harris' ability to lead the country. Here was his answer.
We've had an ability here in Kentucky to cross the aisle. It's about talking to people and not talking at them. It's about being focused on the things they care about the most. That's not the issue of the day in D.C.
Governor Beshear says the vice president did call him just hours after President Biden announced he was dropping out of the race, and he says he's not spoken with her since. Also in his Team Kentucky briefing, Governor Beshear announced more than $1 million will go towards supporting projects in a couple of our counties. The Rockcastle County Fiscal Court will acquire land adjoining the Sparks property and complete site preparation. The Rowan County Fiscal Court will acquire 80 acres identified by an independent site selection consultant as having the potential for future investment and industrial development. Governor Andy Beshear will make several stops in eastern Kentucky today, just ahead of this weekend's second anniversary of the July 2022 flood. WYMT asked him earlier this week if he could give us a preview of what he'll be doing. And one thing he mentioned was giving an update on higher ground communities.
We're going to be giving updates on where we are on all of them. Certainly Skyview and Hazard, that road is getting up there. We're working on the water and the sewer right now. Chestnut Ridge and Knott County, we're going to have homes coming up. The utility work is getting into the property right now. The Wayland community in Floyd County, we're going to have almost all those homes filled by the end of the year, which is exciting.
The governor will be in Floyd, Knott, Perry, and Breathitt counties later today. You can hear more from Governor Beshear about the flood anniversary, and WYMT's other guest is Housing Development Alliance Executive Director Scott McReynolds on Issues and Answers Monday night at 7 on WYMT.
Good Friday to you, almost to the finish line, right? 64 outside our door here at WYMT, a little warmer out to the west, minus Williamsburg at 64, but it's lower 70s. London to Somerset to Monticello. We have breaks in the clouds, but also drier air up toward the 64 corridor. That drier air will gradually sink southward as we head through the day today. And with the boundary still focused, or positioned rather, just to our south, this is where we run the risk of a shower or thunder shower popping up as we head through the afternoon. So as the fog burns off, we'll turn partly sunny and a high of 85. More about the 7-day forecast as your WYMT Mountain Morning News continues right after this.